Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic.
So what brings you here?
Nothing really. I'm just here to fucking hang out and talk, dog. Shit, how was your day? What have you been up to?
Bunnies, trying to bond bunnies.
Bond bunnies? How does that work?
You put two bunnies together and watch them fight and monitor it and be like, okay, you're getting a little too aggressive now. This is beyond pecking order decision, and you separate them and try again. And
So you
after
like
they
trying to get
calm
them to
down-
mate? Do you have like a farm or something?
No. They're just trying to get them to be friends.
Oh, I got you.
Cohabitat in the same enclosure.
I didn't know bunnies were that aggressive. I thought they were just like
They
cute
can be.
fur balls.
They can be territorial, yeah.
I didn't even know that about bunnies. I thought they were kind of just chill like that, chilling around, hopping and shit.
Yeah, I know.
You have any other animals?
Yeah, I have like 19 animals.
You have like a fucking farm?
No, I just have a house that's big and yard and room for them. I have horses, bunnies, dogs, birds.
What kind of birds? I like birds.
What do you like about birds?
They'd be birding and shit. They'd be flying around.
I have doves and pigeons and
Okay.
chicken.
And a chicken. I used to have a chicken. His name was, believe it or not, Little Chicken. He acted like a fucking dog because all I had was pit bulls. He used to live in a neighborhood with a bunch of meth houses and shit. He used to get chased by dogs on my way home. And he would bark. Kid you not. Like not bark like a dog, of course, but whatever you would imagine a chicken barking, he would bark into the dogs at the fence as I would hop it, running from jug dogs. It's a wonderful time.
It's called a bok.
A buck. Well, I mean, yeah, but it wasn't like a normal, because I've been around chickens. I kind of grew up on a farm.
Oh, okay.
But he genuinely barked. Like it sounded like an actual dog bark. I don't know how to explain it.
Crazy.
Yeah, and he would.
I know
he would
because they
attack
kind of
people
they
and
kind of
kill them
growl. They're like.
I feel bad for some of the people hopping in here. They be going through some shit.
They do.
Have you ever thought about like becoming a therapist or something?
No, I wouldn't want to do it professionally.
Why not?
Because then my income would depend on hearing them every week, and I like hearing new people every day rather than having the same people every week.
Okay, I get that. But
Like,
I guess without the fame, like if you weren't as popular as you are, do you think you would have gotten into therapy?
No, not at all.
What would the goal have been?
Be a housewife on a ranch.
No, that makes sense.
And like I just had a guy yesterday come in talk about like how his relationship didn't work out because she started being distant when he showed resistance to her getting like another dog, even though they already had one, and that dog was getting old and she wanted a puppy. And he was like, well, why don't we just wait until we move in a few months? And she was like, well, we already have one. What's the difference? And so he was like, fine. So that's kind of like a turnoff to women because that behavior will be kind of like you're not supporting her desire to nurture. Because when women have animals and not actual children, they tend to have that nurture need in more frequent bursts because the animal they know doesn't live as long. Right. It's like a shorter lifespan. And then also that grows up. So like the nurturing aspect isn't as long as it is when you're raising kids. So she will need that more often. So the fact that he was kind of resistant kind of put her off, but he said, okay. But unfortunately, the puppy she wanted to get was a Facebook scam. And so then he got angry at her that she was a victim to a scam and scolded her a lot and lost his temper in a really extreme way. And then that's when she kind of started emotionally distancing herself. Then because she felt emotionally distanced, they weren't having sex, and she ended up going out with her friends more and then had an affair.
Yeah, but like I'm
So,
just
like-
saying, if I'm a woman in that situation, I'm fucking fuck that dude. Listen, what kind of a man is want a fucking puppy?
Right, but he didn't
what kind of man
realize
is want
what
a
he was
fucking
doing.
puppy, dude? Like the
No, because he was like, he was thinking about it more like we're in the middle of a move right now. We're in an apartment. Wait till we get a house. We're moving in 4 months there, right? He was trying to do like a logical standpoint rather than the emotional need. He didn't realize that he can't logic with her on animals in that way, in a temper way, in like a condescending way where he's he's getting annoyed visibly, like, fine. He needs to be like, I understand that. I understand it's an emotional need for you. And I want that to be I want you to have that because you need it, right? He didn't explain like that. He was just showing him patience. So I explained to him the reason why you can't logic with her there is because what you are doing is basically like emotionally aborting her. If you're like putting down like, no puppy right now.
well, it's just manipulative at the end of the day.
It's
'cause
actually
guy
not though.
ended
It's
up
not
giving up.
manipulative because he wanted her to get a puppy, right?
I know, but right. But if you look at the situation, right, she fell to a Facebook scam, and then he got mad at her because
That
of
part
Facebook
is
scam.
shitty. But we're talking about
Realistically,
like the.
It should have been the guy
Yes.
comforting her and saying, "Let's find you an actual
No,
puppy.
that
What
part
kind
is
of puppy you
dumb
want?"
to
Yeah.
lose his shit over her being a victim. But
Yeah.
she already started detaching when she felt like she had to convince him to get a dog. And from him, he's like, why didn't you understand the logic of waiting? It's like, because you can't logic with someone's biological needs. That would be her being like, I just had sex with you last week. Why do you need it again? Well, I'm sorry, honey. That's his biological need to coom, especially when he's in a relationship. He's going to want that to feel like you care about him. Like, that'd be
Oh, of
like,
course, yeah.
that's like the same thing. for like the opposite side, because men and women have different needs, right? And so his reluctance to nurture her motherly need, in her opinion, felt like he didn't care about her in the way that she needed. But he didn't realize that, because he wasn't looking at it like, even though it's not a child, women will project those feelings onto animals if they don't have kids. So that's why it's like he's not understanding that women are needing different things. But they could have understood that, I think, both of them, if they had talked about it. But a lot of people don't do that. They don't describe what they need and how, like, it's a biological need. This is like the most important thing to me. Like, not more important than you, but biologically, this is what I feel like is my life purpose vibe, you know?
Yeah.
And
No,
so
no,
then
no.
they're just having bad communication, and then they get into fights and they feel like they don't like each other doesn't love the other.
Which is really strange if you think about it. I feel like a lot of people in relationships just aren't happy with themselves and decide to get into a relationship to fulfill that void, as opposed to pursuing life to actually get where they want to be in order to meet somebody else's needs.
Right.
You know?
Like,
I
yeah.
have a question for you. Where did you kind of learn not learn, but kind of build this emotional intelligence that you have and to understand these perspectives? Is it just from these conversations? Did you read? Is it
It's a
something that
mixture of
happened
that,
previous in
talking
your
to
life?
people,
Or
hearing about their things, seeing patterns in different people's stories, but also like experiencing long-term relationship myself, and then like hearing stuff from friends and families and personal experiences. Just, listening to people, really.
yeah. Do you ever find it difficult knowing what you know and like being as emotionally intelligent as you are, getting into relationships with people because of it?
No,
No?
no. I think it helps you to be more emotionally intelligent. It helps you to be able to like make better connections. I don't think it ever prevent me from getting into one. I think it would help me self-select more.
I mean, yeah, I can agree with that. What if it's kind of like a little bit separate and you kind of feel like you're not being yourself, but you're surveying the person to figure out what kind of a person they are, if you know it's safe to approach in a relationship?
Oh, I just don't tend to do that in general. I tend to be authentic, and then it's like
Yeah.
I don't see it as a issue at all. But
No,
yeah,
of course.
I think in general people they don't really communicate in the way that the other party can understand, because men and women are very different, and we value different things, like like emotional versus logical about different topics. So I think we just have to do a better job having patience and explaining. Especially that's just like bearing no trauma in mind. That's just biological for two people who don't have any emotional baggage. But once you bring in the childhood trauma and the environment which they were raised in, it opens even more topics for discussion.
No, of course. And a lot of people don't really realize how their childhood affects them later in life because they don't really look into it. They kind of just shove it away and, move on.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm tired as fuck and I'd like to go play some Sons of the Forest with the boys. So,
All right,
I think I'm
enjoy
going to have to
that.
go here soon. But no, it was a pleasure talking to you. Have a wonderful night.
You too. Bye. Yeah, a lot of guys don't get that. When you don't act excited about women wanting to acquire more animals, like if you actually can't afford it, right? That's one thing. Like if you guys live in a shack, little tiny shack with no yard, no nothing, and she's like, I want a Great Dane, and you're like, hold on, let's be realistic. Like that's a little bit different. But if y'all already have a dog, right? Like in that guy's case, and she wants another dog, and you're trying to be like, I don't know about that. It's like you're emotionally aborting her baby that she's looking forward to nurturing in her mind, because her mind's already made up. She wants this thing. Her heart wants it. Her soul wants it. Everything about her is wanting this thing. And then when you're like, no, she's like, why are you aborting my child? Anakin, you're killing younglings, right? That's like her heartbreak moment. When you're like, don't do this, right? Like, it's weird because some guys might be like, it's a dog, it's not a kid. But to a woman with no kids, that's all she got, baby. That's where all that biology goes to. But once a woman has kids, the kids take precedence. But when she don't have that, the dogs are the kids, literally. That's why girls call themselves dog moms. Doesn't mean that she treats them like a human, but her nurture needs do slot into that role.